Good afternoon and welcome to today's live interactive telephone town hall with Pennsylvania Labor and Industry Secretary Jerry Olexiac and UC Benefits Policy Director Susan Dickinson. My name is Dirk and I'll be moderating the call. The objective of this discussion is to provide you with helpful information, answer your questions, as well as give you an update on Pennsylvania's unemployment benefits programs during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, as I mentioned, this is an interactive forum, and we want to hear from you. We'll be taking as many questions as we possibly can live during this event. If you have a question, you can press *3 on your telephone keypad at any time, and you'll be placed in line to speak with a member of our staff. They'll take down your name and where you're calling from. The next time you hear your name, you will be live on the call and able to ask your question directly. If you're streaming the event on our website, you can simply type your name and question below the streaming player. We'll do our best to answer as many questions as we possibly can this afternoon. Again, to ask a question, please press *3 on your telephone keypad. Now, we receive a lot of questions on our live events, so if we're not able to get to your question, please send an email to uchealth@pa.gov. So let's start off with opening remarks and an update from Secretary Olexiac.
Thank you to those of you who have joined us today. This is our 9th virtual town hall, and we appreciate you being a part of it, and we hope you find them helpful. We certainly learn something each time we do these. I'm going to give you a quick update on our numbers. As of today, since March 15th, we have paid more than $29.3 billion, that's billion with a B, in unemployment compensation benefits. $11.5 billion from our regular UC, $13.8 billion from the federal pandemic unemployment compensation program, the extra $600 a week, and we'll be talking more about that in a minute. Almost $4 billion from the pandemic unemployment assistance program, and that is for people who are not traditionally eligible for UC, and also the extended benefits program, the federal extended benefits program, $173 million, and through Pennsylvania's extended benefits program, which just kicked in recently, that's $6 million. So since between March 15th and June 20th, 92% of the claims that have been filed have either been paid or determined to be ineligible. So we've got 8% of those claims dating back to still resolve, and we have been doing what we can to get them resolved. Thus far, we've responded to almost 117,000 chats, about 280,000 phone calls, and about 618,000 emails. We've also been working very hard to get more people trained and on staff. In the month of July alone, we've added 88 support staff from other agencies and over 300 staff from outside contractors that we're working with. We started training additional triple I's. They are our initial intake person, and we'll have over 100 of them trained by late July and on the phones. A lot of those folks are bilingual, so we can better serve Spanish-speaking customers. And we're looking at other ways that we may be able to extend staff in our claim centers as well. Reminder, we mentioned the federal pandemic unemployment compensation program. That program will be ending this weekend. That's the extra $600 that all unemployment recipients receive each week on top of their regular benefits. If you are still waiting on payment for any claim weeks from April 4th through July 25th, you will receive those payments if you are eligible. There's some conversations in Washington right now about extending those benefits. It's in the middle of a lot of back and forth in Congress. We have reached out through our agency to our delegation in Pennsylvania to let them know that as an agency and as an administration, we support the extension of those benefits. Whether that will happen and what that will look like is hard to know right now. There are other resources available to our fellow citizens, primarily through the Department of Human Services. They have programs designed to help Pennsylvanians who have lost income or employment, help them meet basic needs until they're able to get back to work again. Those programs include Medicaid, the CHIP program, the Children's Health Insurance Program, SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, LIHEAP, the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, and TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. There are also some specific programs related to the pandemic that DHS has available, the Emergency Assistance Program, and other programs related to the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. I would encourage you to visit the website, compass.state.pa.us. That's compass.state.pa.us. Or you can also call the Service Center at 877-395-8930. That's 877-395-8930. There's also help available through our insurance, the Pennsylvania Insurance Department. And if you go to insurance.pa.gov, there will be some explanation of benefits there. And there's also a resources for Pennsylvanians link on the normal government website, www.pa.gov. That includes links to mental health resources, other financial help, mortgage and rent information, food assistance, and other things that some of our citizens may need. We also are have begun the process of opening up the Pennsylvania career links across the state. These aren't run by labor and industry, they're county run, but we do provide some services to the career link, and they have started to open virtually. So if you're looking to learn new skills that would help you find a better job, or if you're out of work and looking for work, the career links can help. And they have increased their virtual services for job seekers and for employers as well. So those services include adult education classes, career counseling, on-the-job training programs, resume assistance, virtual workshops, job search assistance, and various other programs also helping employers. You can visit www.pacareerlink, one word, pacareerlink.pa.gov. With that, I know we have a few quick updates from Susan, and then we will take your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. The one thing that I wanted to point out, which I have pointed out in the past, but it's still very, very helpful, is our troubleshooting guide for UC benefits. If you go to our website, www.uc.pa.gov, we have a guide there that will explain whatever issue you're experiencing, what could be happening with your benefits. So anywhere from, I've received my financial determination, but nothing else. I've been filing, I have my PIN, I've been filing, but I haven't received any payments. What's going on? Those sorts of questions can be answered with the general information there. More and more we're handling, urgent requests and inquiries on what's going on with claims and I filed a long time ago and what's happening, and more, a lot of them aren't eligible for payments, and the individual didn't realize it. So if we're doing an outright denial on someone's claim, we do send a determination. So you would receive a determination in the mail. But one of the most frequent issues that's cropping up these days are individuals who are working too much to be considered unemployed. So if you are, working part-time, you may even be working less than you did before. When we calculate how much you can get paid in a week, it's simply based off of your gross earnings that you're reporting to us. So if you're reporting what we call excessive earnings, so that would be earnings higher than your combination rate on your claim, then you won't be eligible for a payment in a week. So, even if you're still laid off from your regular job, and let's say you are, working part-time for FedEx or something like that, and you're reporting your earnings to us, you might not be eligible for a benefit. If you have excessive earnings for a week, there is no actual determination or denial that goes to you. It's simply a week-to-week kind of a test where if you work too much, you just can't receive a payment in that scenario. So when everyone opens a claim, you do receive a handbook about unemployment. So it's important to look through this handbook and understand how the program works. That way, you have the right expectations set and you know what to expect. And especially in cases where people are working part-time, it explains how you enter your earnings and whether or not you're going to receive a payment, so that you're not sitting around waiting and thinking that there's something we have to get to you, or, really trying to get a hold of someone and you're getting frustrated when in the first place, you wouldn't be eligible for a payment for the week. And, you can keep track of those calculations and see whether or not you might be expecting a payment or not. So there's other things in that troubleshooting guide on our website, that are kind of the frequently asked questions, I guess you could say, or the frequent scenarios that we're finding, where individuals may not have understood what was going on with their claim. So it's a good resource to look at in addition to your unemployment handbook. The unemployment handbooks are mailed to people who filed a claim with us over the phone. But the handbook is actually just a link if you file online. It's a link that comes with your claim confirmation page, and it's available. It's called the UCP-1, so that's UCP-1, and you can search for it anytime on our website, and you can look through the UCP-1. So the troubleshooting guide was all I wanted to highlight today, so we can move on to the questions.
Okay, very good. Our first caller is Cindy joining us. Welcome to the call, Cindy. You're live. What is your question?
Yes, my question is, I had an existing claim and the reasons changed for my unemployment. Back on June 30th, I uploaded to my dashboard my physician statement, and at the same time I sent an email to uspua@pa.gov. When I talked to somebody on the phone today at the PUA line, they said they're putting a tracker to elevate it to an examiner, but they couldn't see my email, that it was sitting somewhere. So I guess we're trying to get to the point, will my email be associated with my dashboard and my documents there? Or how does this all work at this point in the time frame?
Hi, Cindy. So depending on what the issue is, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking about the email. The email account, the UC-PUA account, I think is what you're referring to. That's once someone gets to the email, they then look at the claim, and that's kind of a separate, they go into the system and look at the claim separately. So if you did talk to someone and they said that an examiner is needed for your claim, then that typically means that there is an issue to be resolved. So the examiner has to ask you more in-depth questions about whatever the scenario is that is prompting this. So if there's a, it doesn't really, whichever email address you use to open your PUA claim, it's not necessarily doing any type of automatic association with the system, if that's, with the email account, if that's what you're asking. So, depending on what it is, it gets assigned to an examiner, and they have to just call you and ask some questions. The process itself shouldn't take very long. There is a little bit of a wait, just for an examiner to be available to do to make the calls and get the information that they need. But some issues on claims are easier to resolve than others. We are experiencing a lot of, there might be an issue on a claim that someone raised when they were filing for their weekly benefits. And in that case, it may be something that they accidentally hit the wrong button or chose the wrong thing. And if that's the case, then that would be a very easy type of fix. Once they talk to you and explain what they're looking for, you can say to them, oh, I didn't realize that that's what that meant. So yeah, it'll depend on the issue, the non-monetary issue. But I can't really give an exact date or anything on when they might get to it, but it's something that they'll just have to deal with when they get to it and get the information from you.
All right, we're joined now by Jason. Jason, welcome to the call. What is your question?
Hi, this is Jason, and my question is, or actually my story and my question is, I originally filed for the PUA when the website went up in April, and put my claim through, and it only allowed me to upload one document. A week later, my claim got erased, and I got an email basically stating, we have the website fixed. Please update, put your claim in again. I put my claim in again. It only allowed me to put in one document out of my proof of income. So I did that, and I got determined that I was eligible, but only for the minimum, the state minimum, because I was only able to put the one document in. And it said for appeals, appeal to this email address, and that email address got kicked back. Told later that they gave everybody the wrong email address on appeal, and so I sent an appeal when that was corrected, which was the beginning of June, with all my documents and everything. Also found out on the internet to use ucpua@pa.gov, send all my documents explaining everything. I sent all my proof of documents, and I also did it through the portal, sent all my documents and everything, proving that I should be getting the maximum instead of the minimum. I have been getting the minimum plus the 600 for the last 20 weeks, and that's gone smoothly and fine, but I haven't gotten the maximum, which I should be getting, and nobody has gotten back to me, responded in any way, and getting through the phone line doesn't work. It's just busy. I can never get through to anybody. And I wanted to find out, what do I do now and what do I expect?
Jason, it actually sounds like you're describing a problem that we have with some claims, not all claims. If you're saying you put in your full quarters of wages the first time you open the claim, and that seemed to take them and that it went well, there are some claims which simply just aren't calculating correctly. And this is actually fresh in my mind because I just ran across one yesterday. I was trying to help the woman out with the same issue. And it's something that we're close to fixing with our vendor. We have to test some things, and they have to get them correct before we put them into production. But she has the same issue where she correctly put in her quarterly wages of $9,000+ each quarter, and so her weekly benefit amount comes out as $195, which is much lower. If you're having quarterly wages of $9,000 a quarter, it should be much higher than that. So it may be that you are stuck in that same group, which it's good news and bad news. It's only good news to the effect that there isn't anything you have to do. You've done everything you need to. It's, of course, the bad news that you just have to wait for us to fix this. So the good news on top of that is when we do fix it, it supposedly is going to automatically reissue them correctly and make all the payments. It's not like there's going to be an additional wait for someone to make the payments or do anything. Once the system gets fixed and it fixes the issue, then everything will be issued correctly. So you'll automatically get those supplements. It'll go all the way back to the beginning. In the other one I was looking at yesterday, it's an additional problem because she was in the boat of having part-time work. So with that low rate every week, she's not receiving any money right now because her work is being seen as excessive. She has excessive earnings, as I described before we started taking questions and answers, because of her rate being so low. If her rate was as high as it should be, then she should be receiving payments right now. So it is something where I checked with our project manager yesterday just to make sure. It looks like we're getting close to a solution, and then you'll be able to get your revised determination. You can check your dashboard for it. There's a section there where you can see any of your correspondence, and the revised determination will go in there, and everything will be updated. So, we're getting there soon. Just keep watching your dashboard for information.
All right, we're going to move on now to an online question. And Megan writes, she was approved for regular UC and received my financial determination and PEN. She's filed her biweekly claim, and she's due to file again this Sunday, but still haven't received payments. So her question, how can I find out what's going on with my claim?
Hi, Megan. It sounds like there is an issue on the claim that is being looked into. That would be, as long as you're able to file for your weeks, and it sounds like you are, then it's just a matter to be adjudicated. Or right now we are still going through the quarter change, although you said you're on regular UC and not PEUC, so that wouldn't be an issue for you. So the best way to know is, if you do want to have a checkup on what's going on, chat is actually a way. I know in the past there were, a lot of, any way that you try to get a hold of us, it is difficult. It's just high volume right now. But I have heard more people recently saying they've been able to get through to chat and that it's much easier to use. So that seems to be the current way to go. So if you have, online access, then chatting Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. might be your best bet. If not, then, if you send us an email to uchelp@pa.gov, we do have a ton of emails in there. However, we work them as they come in and at the back. So there is a chance, some people have emailed us back when we email them the same day, and they said, I can't believe you emailed me the same day. It depends on how quick it is, and if the solution is something quick that we can give you. That's not going to happen for everybody, but it could happen for you. So, and then, of course, there's always calling us, which I always tell people call later in the week and not earlier in the week, because later in the week is the better time to reach us.
Perfect. Another question from online, this one from Devin, who asks, how do I reset my PUA account if I forgot my username and password?
Hi, Devin. There are some links there where you can reset certain things. I know you can reset your password through a link. If you're having trouble, I know we've had some people still unable to access their accounts in the past, then we might be able to have an administrator reset it, in which case you could just send, you could do one of two things. You could either send an email to the ucpua@pa.gov account, or you can call the PUA line. About a week ago, we actually doubled the number of people who are answering calls on the PUA line, so we're taking a lot of calls. We just took 2,000 calls yesterday, so there's a lot of, we've increased our volume. So it may be a little easier for people to get a hold of us by phone now than it was in the past. So, calling the PUA line. The PUA line is only open till 3 on weekdays, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. weekdays. So you can, try to give us a call there, and we can look at resetting your information that way as well.
All right, back to the phones. We've got Susan joining us now. Go ahead, you're live on the call. What is your question?
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call. This is a PEUC question. I was finally able to file for 8 weeks on the 9th of July, and then I filed again on Sunday. It keeps saying that everything is being paid somehow. But there doesn't seem to be, in the account balance, it says that it's been paid, but virtually nothing has been paid. And I have not been contacted by an examiner. I've gotten through on live chat. They told me that everything was fine. They pushed it through April. And then I got an email in response to my email saying everything was taken care of, but nothing, there is no money. And so my question to you is, how do I explain this when I can't pay my bills?
Hi, Susan. It's actually a little concerning. It sounds to me like you may be in the situation where it could be a fraudulent activity happening on your claim. we had, discussed on past town halls, but I'll explain again. So what may happen is we had a lot of people asking us, I've been getting paid normally, and all of a sudden I'm not getting paid anymore. What's going on? And when we look into it, their direct deposit was changed through UC Treasury by fraudsters. So their claims were still paying. There was no issue with the claims, but when the payment was going to a bank account, it's not going to your bank account, it's going to someone else's bank account who filed a fraudulent PUA claim on your behalf. So, I don't want to alarm you, but I kind of want to alarm you in case that this is something that might be happening with your claim, because that's been a red flag for us when we hear people's payments just stopped, because normally that doesn't happen. So, there's always a chance that there's an eligibility issue or whatever, but you're saying that everything's paying, everyone's telling you that it's being paid, you can see online that it's being paid, so that tells me the payment's not going to where you think it's going. So there is, one potential chance if you did have direct deposit signed up and you received a debit card. First, if I were you, I would just check the debit card to make sure it's not sitting there. We did have, in the beginning of the pandemic, maybe it's more like the middle of the pandemic in the past few months, a lot of individuals unable to find their payments, and when they looked, it was actually on their debit card. So, a lot of people are sent, even though you sign up for direct deposit, you receive a debit card in the beginning of when you file your claim. And that is, so that if there is ever a payment problem with your account, you still get the money. So if you have a debit card, check that. If not, it may actually be that someone changed your direct deposit information. So there is a fraud page on our website. So I recommend you go to the fraud page. It has some contact information and some instructions when it comes to fraud, and that might be what we have to look into for you.
All right, we're now joined by Lynn. Lynn, welcome to the call. What is your question?
Yes, thank you for having these calls. I am working part-time, and when I claimed a week that I did not work, I got a message that the department needed more information from me because the choices of why you didn't work were only like quit, fired, lack of work. None of those pertain to me. It's been over 2 weeks. I haven't heard anything. So would I be getting an email? Would I get a phone call? And if I do get a phone call, is the caller ID going to let me know that it's from UC? Because otherwise I don't usually answer my phone. Thank you.
Sure. So the situation you described is what we call a full after partial. All that means is that if someone is claiming a full week of benefits and it's after they've been working, even just a little, even just a couple hours, they've been, they were doing some sort of work the last week and now they're asking for full benefits instead of partial benefits. The system goes, whoa, why are you unemployed now? And it wants to know. So that's why it gives you that message, and we need more information on your separation. And the separation, you'd mentioned the separation reasons. They're all the same reasons that are on our initial application. So, like there's quit, there's fired. Generally, lack of work. I mean, if there's no work for you, you're not being offered work, then that would be, the answer. So you would have to, choose whichever one is the best choice for your situation. And then, as long as it's not an issue, then there would be no one who needs to reach out. If it is an issue, then someone would be reaching out. Like if you were terminated from your job, for example, someone would reach out for further information. So I was going to make another point with that. So the full after partial is it's going to happen anytime that you have that full week of unemployment after a week of unemployment where you worked at least a little bit. You did ask about the number, and if someone calls you, how you're going to know if that's the department calling or what. And actually, this is an interesting topic and an interesting point that we've worked with our phone vendor, and we've learned a lot about how the telephone systems work. And so when you get some sort of a phone call and you get some sort of a caller ID or something that pops up on your screen, and it's not a number that you have saved in your phone, like this is just from the phone company, it is actually your carrier that determines what you see. So it's not our phone system or our phone carrier that's going to make the difference. It's all determined by your own personal phone carrier. So if your carrier doesn't display our name, they don't display our name, there's not really much we can do about that. We have reached out to them. We've had our IT folks reach out to all the different phone carriers to try to get them to comply with what we need. We want our name to be displayed. We want it to say Pennsylvania Unemployment, something like that. But of course, that's just a request from us to them. So it's not something they must do. And I think a lot of them did cooperate. However, we are always, because of this reason and the fact that we don't have control over what your phone displays to you, we are always telling people to save the Pennsylvania UC number in your phone. Even for individuals who do all of their stuff online, it's a good idea to put our phone number in your phone in case there ever is an issue with your claim and, we need to call you. Our examiners, they try calling people usually if they can't get a hold of people. They might then send a letter, but for the most part, it's faster to get things done by a phone. And so it really helps if we get a hold of people the first time we call them. So, I recommend, putting our number, the 888-313-7284 phone number in your phone. And that way, if we do call you, you can answer it. It's us.
All right, let's segue back to an online question. This one comes from Danielle. She writes, I'm waiting on my account to update from PEUC to EB, and it hasn't happened automatically. Are there additional qualifications, or am I just waiting for it to be fixed? Is there a separate application?
Danielle, there isn't a separate application. It is an automatic process, so there's nothing that you would have to do. If it hasn't set up, I'll make 2 points there. So if you log in to your continuing claims, like your biweekly filing that you would do for regular UC or PEUC, generally what you're going to see is a message that says your claim is inactive. And then there's a button at the bottom of that little window that says file for EB benefits or something like that, file for extended benefits. So if you see that button that says file for extended benefits, that means your extended benefits claim is set up. You want to click on that button and file for your weeks. So if you're not being given a button that says file for extended benefits, then that means that, that it didn't set up for some reason. And one of the biggest reasons is if your UC claim expired the same week that, I should say the prior week before your extended benefits claim would set up. When someone is on an extension, whether it be PEUC or EB, as soon as your regular UC claim hits that benefit year ending date, so 1 year after you opened your claim, it's going to hold up your extension claim temporarily because we have to test and see if you can qualify for a new UC claim. If you can qualify for a new UC claim, you have to file for that claim. You can't continue on the extension. So that, we've seen that a couple times this week where that's the issue, where it coincides with the ending of your regular UC claim. So if you know that your regular UC claim ended the week prior to your EB, when your EB would be set up, then you can actually just go file a regular UC claim yourself. You don't need to wait for staff to contact you. Especially if you know you're going to possibly be eligible, that would be the thing to do, and then you can just get started on UC. If you don't think you'll be eligible, you don't have to file, but it's not going to hurt anything if you do, just to make sure that you're not eligible. If someone does continue on an extension, and they are eligible or could have been eligible for UC the entire time, then at the next point where we do a test, because we test everyone every 3 months, and we see that you've been eligible on UC or should have been eligible, you're going to end up being overpaid on the extension, and then we're going to have to put you on UC. So it's really just our way of avoiding overpayments. We don't want people to be overpaid and then, have that to deal with. So, that's my advice. If you know that you can if you know that you might qualify for a new UC claim, you can go ahead and file that claim. And if that doesn't, speak to your situation, if you still are within your benefit year hasn't ended, then you should have that blue button there. And if you don't, then it does sound like something is wrong, and you might want to just send us an email to uchelp@pa.gov, and then we could take a look at it and see. So far, I haven't run across any situations where it hasn't truly set up when it shouldn't have, but you never know. Things happen all the time.
All right, next, Lisa asks, if you had an overpayment in the past and you paid it, does it still hold you from getting unemployment now?
That's a great question. So actually it could. It depends on the situation. So if there's two ways it could hold someone up, and that's the actual receiving any payment, and then there's also the delay in receiving a payment. So if there's different kinds of overpayments. There's, we'll just keep it simple. There's the non-fault type where it wasn't your fault. The examiner sent you a determination saying you're overpaid, but it's not your fault. For those kind, what we do is there's a deduction in your benefits when we pay you. We deduct a third out of every time that we pay you, a third of your weekly benefit amount. So you'll get 2/3, and then that deduction continues until your overpayment is completely satisfied. Or, some people prefer to just pay their overpayment up front, like they just send us a check, and that way it doesn't deduct any payments going forward. So that'll happen for a period of 3 years. So if you were to, get employed, but then you're unemployed again, and it's within 3 years, then the 1/3 reduction will continue. And then there's the fault overpayment. If there is an overpayment on your claim and we've determined it is your fault, there's also interest that's usually assessed. There could be other penalties that are assessed. But in general, what the fault overpayment means is that we are taking your payments in full. So you would want to keep filing for unemployment as long as you're otherwise eligible, because then we do take your payments and it goes towards satisfying your overpayment, which is good, because then if you're unemployed in the future, this means we're not going to continue deducting your full payments as long. You want to be able to take care of that overpayment so that it's not in your way in the future. So, and that can last for 10 years. So if you have a fault overpayment, those are much longer than the non-fault overpayments. But also, if you have an overpayment on your claim, our old 40-plus year legacy system doesn't make your payments automatically. They all have to be made by staff every time you file. So when you file for weeks, and let's say you have a non-fault overpayment, there is a staff member who then has to touch your claim. They have to deduct a third. They have to give you the 2/3, and then they move on to the other claims. It's a lot of manual work. And same with the fault ones. A staff member has to, make that deduction completely that we get for the trust fund, and then you don't get any part of the fault weeks. Also, there is, for individuals who had fault overpayments, you also get interest assessed. And if your entire fault overpayment has been satisfied, let's say that we did it through deductions as you filed week after week, and now your overpayment satisfied and you have no actual base overpayment anymore, you do still have that interest outstanding, and it's going to hold up your claim every week when you file, because the way it works is interest can't be taken care of through deductions unless you give us your permission. So, in typical times, people may not be thinking of it, but even if you have $20 in interest sitting there, it's going to hold up your payment every week while a person has to manually touch it, and you have to wait for that. We are actually, I know that at the onset of the pandemic, a lot of our interviewers, especially the ones who've been around longer and they understand this concept, they were, and still are, calling a lot of claimants who only have, smaller amounts of interest sitting there that are holding up their payments every 2 weeks and explaining to them, hey, if you just let me, pay this $150, you don't have to wait every 2 weeks. It's just going to flow through. It's going to be a lot easier for you. And especially with the additional $600 payments that, have been a part of the CARES Act, we've actually had a lot of people want us to do this, and we've taken a lot of interest back and satisfied a lot of interest through payments so that people can just receive their payments every 2 weeks without it getting held up. So we are planning on sending a letter to individuals to explain this. Even though our interviewers, reach out to people regularly, there's still a lot of people out there. So we are kind of planning to send a letter to everyone, and excuse me, and then they will, understand the concept and then be able to satisfy that interest if they want to, so it doesn't hold up their payments anymore.
Thank you very much for that answer, Susan. Let's go back to the phones now. We've got Justin joining us. Hello, Justin. Welcome to the call. What is your question?
Hi. Thank you very much for taking my call. So I think I sort of have a question very similar to the one that was asked 2 questions ago about the changeover from the 26 weeks to the additional 13, although I am still within my benefit year. My original 26 weeks ended at the end of May. I kind of received a half payment. I thought I was going to have the 13 weeks added automatically because my claim was opened at the very beginning of 2019. So I was, 2020. So I was within the same year. And it's letting me continue to file biweekly, although I'll note that the biweekly filing week has changed. No, there's no part anywhere to file for extended benefits. So I'm not sure if I'm missing the File EB button or if I even need the File EB button.
Hi, Jason. So it does sound like your PEUC should have been set up, only because if you did just open your claim this year, then it wouldn't be, as long as your benefit year isn't ended, it should set up automatically. So there's possible reasons that, maybe it didn't, and I can only think of like if you had wages in another state or, there's certain other eligibility criteria. They're not a big deal. They don't affect most people, but we do, look to see if that's an issue. So what you can do, normally we say to only apply for PEUC if your benefit year has ended. However, just to be safe, you can apply for PEUC online. It's the EB program, which comes after that, which doesn't have an actual application. But the PEUC program does have an application. So if you go to our website and you just search for PEUC, or there's even links there, I think, on our front page that take you to PEUC page, there is an application there you can file, and then the PEUC claim will be set up for you. Or if there is some other reason it's not being set up, at least then, someone will be looking at it and can, put you in one of those categories, and someone will contact you if it's something that you have to do, like filing a new UC claim in another state or something like that. So that would be my recommendation, just to make sure, your application is in, and then we'd be able to set that up.
All right. Our next caller is Ali. Ali, welcome to the call. What is your question, sir?
Hi. Yes, I've been receiving PUA and unemployment. I'm an Uber driver, but since June 20th, all of a sudden it stopped, and I haven't received anything yet. And I've been filing my weekly certification every week. And if there is an issue or something that they need some paperwork or something, my question is, why did it stop?
Susan, did we lose you?
No, I did my question. So
I'm here.
I was waiting
Thank you,
for
Ali.
your answer. You probably,
Yes, Ali, thank you.
You're welcome.
Susan?
I'm here. Hello.
Hello, yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, my question is that I'm a Uber driver. I'm 56-year-old, and I've been receiving PUA and unemployment for about until 20th of June. Then all of a sudden everything stopped. I haven't received any payment yet. They sent me a card, and one of the payments just came in the card, and then it just stopped. So I don't know why it just stopped all of a sudden. If there is an issue that we could solve, or there is any paperwork.
So it could be a couple things. If depending on the answers that you provide when you file a claim, that could be one of them. Like that might have been around the time when we instituted the new question about your reason for unemployment for the week. Although there's really as long as you chose one of the reasons, it shouldn't have created any type of an issue. So only if you said that you weren't unemployed due to a disaster, those are the sorts of things that might hold up your claim. Or it could be possibly an identity issue because we've had so much fraud on this program. We're instituting new fraud checkers all the time to look through claims and determine which ones we may have to have more information about. So if it couldn't hurt, though, in case that is the issue, to just upload your copy of your driver's license and another form of identification. Actually, on our website, there's kind of a list of suggested things to use to upload 2 forms of identification. So if you look at www.uc.pa.gov/PUA, our PUA page, that could give you some information, as well as our fraud page. I think it's on there as well. So that's, the one thing that comes to mind. That might have been also part of it, in which case, once you do upload that, there is an email. It's dliverify@pa.gov, where you can upload the information, but then email us at dliverify just to let us know that it's there, and we should check it. And we should, we can clear the stop on your claim as long as we have what we need there. So that's the first thing that pops to mind, other than some sort of a regular issue on the claim, driven by the continued claims answers.
All right, moving to an online question now. Stephen wonders, when do you file for unemployment when receiving a severance package?
So when you are first unemployed, that's when you file. And we ask a question on the initial claim if you are receiving severance. We also further ask, is it over $21,900? So if a severance package is under $21,900, it won't affect your benefits at all. So, you can say your answers to the questions, and then there shouldn't be any type of a holdup. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice today. But when you do have severance that's over that, it's simply a determination that we have to make. So you'll file for your benefits right away, but if it turns out that your severance is deductible, all that means is that it's depending on the size of your severance package, it's going to push your benefits off a little further. So instead of being paid for, the first several weeks of your claim, you might not be eligible for benefits the first several weeks of your claim. Generally, when the examiner does a determination on severance and a denial on severance, it will explain to you how many weeks are being denied from the beginning of your claim. So if you think about it, it's not really, unless you had an extremely large severance package, which, sometimes people do, but most people don't, you're really not getting any fewer benefits, like your maximum, your 26 weeks of benefits are still there. You just don't get to start them as early. So your claim effective date will remain the same, but you won't be able to file for benefits for several weeks until that denial period is over, and then you can start filing for your benefits. The only time it would really affect the amount of your total benefits in your claim, the 26 weeks, is if you had so much severance that it gives you a denial for more than half a year, or in a rare occasion, we may have someone who's denied for the whole year of their claim because their severance package is so big. So it really depends on how much money the severance package was. It depends on if it's attributable to certain things with your employment. So it's best to just file right away as soon as you're unemployed, and then just provide us the information, and we'll do the math and let you know from there.
All right, back to the phones. We've got Melissa on the line with us now. Melissa, go ahead with your question.
Hello, and thank you for taking these questions. My current unemployment claim, my regular claim, is about to end. I'll call in this Sunday for what's left of my balance. So I've been trying to follow for the federal extension of the 13 weeks, and I'm not sure if I need to apply or if that's automatically done. I've seen different things online. And the second part to this question is, I've read something a while back that those payments were going onto a Relia card, I thought, which I never got. I've been getting my direct deposits since I opened my claim, and I wasn't sure if that was factual or not.
Hey, Melissa, so as long as you're still within your benefit year for regular UC, like the 1 year period isn't up, then the PEUC will be automatically set up for you. So you wouldn't need to apply at all. And you would just continue filing for weeks on the PEUC claim just like you did on regular UC. So that's how that works. And also the money on the Relia card, you may have seen things where that's true for our PUA program, which is completely separate from UC, PEUC, and EB. That was all because of the rampant fraud that's going on in the PUA programs across the nation, not just in Pennsylvania. So your benefits, since you're on a regular UC claim and you're going to PEUC claim, you'll still get your benefits through direct deposit.
All right, let's get Linda on the line. Linda, welcome to the call. What is your question?
Hello, and thank you. Can you hear me? Can you hear?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I can hear you.
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you very much for taking my call. All was finally working well. I'm on PUA, and I got the Relia card. Everything started to work perfectly until 7/5. From 7/5 and again 7/12 and again 7/19, nothing. All zeros on my claim each week, and it says in progress each of these weeks. There's no information. The summary page says there's no outstanding issues with my claims. There's no wait week. I shouldn't be paid. There's no reason not to, there's no to prevent payment. However, there's no money on the debit card for the past 3 weeks, and there's no information. And I have called thousands of times every single day of the week and can't get through. So I don't know what this means when it says in progress, in progress, in progress with all zeros. So help. Hello?
Sorry, I was on mute. That's my fault.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. It's just that, without getting any information, it's very frustrating. I've sent emails. I've called thousands of times. But it's critical now. The entire month is there's no pay.
So I think what might be happening, since you're saying that you're not seeing any issues in your issues section, because that's where normally issues are displayed, it's probably an identity issue. And we probably just need your driver's license, or, there are two forms of identification. One is a photo identification and then some other form. So if you look on our our PUA website for the Department of Labor, the www.uc.pa.gov/PUA, it will have instructions there on how to clear. It says how to clear a 261 issue, which is an identity issue. So in those, what you would do is you would just upload your information, your 2 forms of identification to your dashboard, and then you're going to shoot us a separate email to our dliverify@pa.gov account. And then someone will take a look at that. They'll look at the identification that you've uploaded, and then they'll clear the issue, and then you can proceed on your claim. And when they clear the issue, it'll pay the weeks being held as well. And so that will, that should take care of it for you, because that's the only situation I know of that you don't actually see the issue. And we're working on getting that changed. We want people to be able to see that issue so that they know what to do. Because it was all, related to the fraud and, that's happening across the country. It was something that is kind of the situation that's fluid and changing as we work with law enforcement. But in any case, that should clear it up for you, and you can get that information. It's all on our website.
All right, looking at the clock, it looks like we have time for just one more question, and we're going to take this one from online. Catherine asks, can you please advise on the current response time when using UC Help at pa.gov?
Yes, and it is actually all different times. As I mentioned earlier, some people may hear from us the same day or next day. For other people, it may take 2 to 4 weeks to get a response. So it's differing depending on, of course, when you send it. Of course, we're trying to, address those individuals who, emailed us longest ago. And we're also, however, looking at incoming emails to see if there are quick ones that we can just handle. Quick inquiries that gets them out of the queue, and we can, move on to other claims. So it could be anywhere in there. Generally, right now, and I believe we do have on our website that it's about 2 to 4 weeks at this point. So that's our general answer, but it could be faster than that. It could be longer than that. It does depend on the situation.
Thank you very much, Susan. We are coming to the end of this live event. I want to thank you for taking the time to participate in today's Labor and Industry Town Hall. We appreciate the opportunity to speak directly with you and answer your questions. I want to circle back around now and get closing comments from Secretary Olexiac.
Thank you, Dirk, and thank you, Susan, as always, for your expertise. I want to thank the listeners and callers who joined us. We do look forward to these, and we hope that you find them as valuable as we do. So thank you. We will be doing this again next Thursday. Thank you.
Now, to keep current on Pennsylvania L&I updates, please visit www.uc.pa.gov. And once again, if we were unable to get to your question today, please send an email to uchelp@pa.gov. Thank you to everyone for taking the time to participate. We hope you stay healthy and safe and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.